Welcome back to HCISD's podcast, Learn Text. I'm happy you're here today with us for our third episode of our parent series. And here at Learn Text, it's our mission that Learn Text will inspire continuous learning by fulfilling the desire and joy of acquiring new knowledge. I'm your host today, Jennifer Maldonado, and we are discussing athletics in HCISD. And we have a brand new guest today, Rob Davies. He is our Director of Athletics, and I would like to say welcome, sir, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on.
I, in searching for today and preparing, I found a quote that I just absolutely loved by a Hall of Famer. I'm a huge football fan. I will have to share that my team, of course, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So sorry to all those Cowboys fans out there from Texas. But I found a quote from a Hall of Famer, Mike Singletary, that really just surmised what I think so many people are feeling right now. And what he said was, "Do you know what my favorite part of the game is?" He said, "The opportunity to play." Well, HCISD students are getting the opportunity to head back on the field, the court, the track, and so on. So, Mr. Davies, tell us, what will athletics in HCISD look like this year?
Well, whenever they get on the field or the court or wherever, whatever venue it is, hopefully it's going to look like it's always looked. There's a lot of safety protocols and things that are going to be taking place in the stands, some different configurations on the sidelines, but the actual product that you see on the field or the court should look very similar. And we're excited about having our kids and our coaches back. We started on Monday with football, volleyball, tennis, golf, swim, and cross country. And, we've been going around just checking our systems and protocols have all been followed, and kids are doing a great job remaining socially distant. Coaches doing a great job of putting in offense and defense and teaching fundamentals. And in a couple of weeks, we should be having some games.
Well, games are what everyone is excited about for sure. And so our community is really wanting to know, how can we watch our kids?
So for our varsity athletics, for sure, we're going to be live streaming all of our varsity games on Rio Sports Live. We're working with the campuses to be able to also live stream our middle school and sub-varsity games. That's really still in the works, but for sure a fan or a parent will be able to watch their child from the comfort of their home live stream.
And how do our parents access the Rio Sports Live?
There's two ways. One of them is go to riosportslive.com. And then I think that we're also working within our school district to create a link where parents can go to our HCISD website and look on there and find the game or activity that they're wanting to watch, and it'll be streamed through our website as well.
So I know a lot of families are going to feel very excited about having that opportunity to be safe at home and watching those sports, but there are a few families that are really excited to get back and watch a football game. So if someone is interested in purchasing stadium tickets, is that available? And if so, how do they do that?
So in the past, our tickets have really been sold at the gates due to COVID-19 and just trying to mitigate the spread as much as possible. We're doing all of our tickets for all sporting events through our online system. And so anyone that wants to attend a game live face-to-face, they would go to our athletics website. On the bottom right-hand corner, they'll see a tab that says ticketing, and they'll go on push ticketing, find the event that they would like to watch, the school that they would like to watch, and then follow the directions, just like if you were going to buy tickets for a concert or something on StubHub. Very similar system.
Now, I can imagine that there are going to be some changes that our family members can expect, at the stadium. So can you walk us through maybe some of those changes? What should they expect to see?
Sure. So for Bogus Stadium, for high school football on Friday nights and some Thursday night games, We'll still have our clear bag policy or clear bag guidelines where, you know, you're not allowed to bring things into the stadium unless it's in a clear bag. Then we're going to have signs everywhere talking about socially distancing. Fans are going to be required to wear a mask at all times, and that's one of the costs of coming and watching a face-to-face game is, you know, you're going to have to be just like whenever you go to the store, you're going to have a face covering. All the seats are going to be socially distanced. We're selling at Bogus Stadium. We're selling up to 4 seats. We're trying to stay away from single seats if possible, just to be able to allow more people to watch the game. And then you're going to see a lot of markings in the stadium, on the bleachers, on the ground. As far as concessions, we're going to sell fluids only. There's not going to be any food that we're going to sell. It's going to be all fluids. You're going to see a lot less people. I think that, you know, we have 2 great high school football programs and bands and drill teams and cheerleaders that a lot of people usually come and pack the stadium out on Friday nights. We're limiting that. We're staggering the sales of our tickets. The number one group that we wanted to be able to have access to tickets this year is our parents of our participants, and then followed by our past 2019 season ticket holders. Then once we accommodate all those fans on Monday and Tuesday of game week, we'll open it up to general sales to anyone that's not in one of those 2 categories to come to the game on Friday night. So it's going to look a lot different. Typically, we have around 4,500 fans on the home side, and we're looking at about 1,400 on the home side for a Friday night. That would be capacity. One of the things that you know, if a fan chooses to come to the game, I think that they can look to have a great experience, but also there's nothing like being able to stay at home, order pizza, and watch it there on Rio Sports Live from the comfort and safety of their house.
Well, that's a great option. I'm sure that our local pizza restaurants are very excited for that plug-in for them. So that they will be very happy. I'm sure Wings and other places too would be happy to sponsor their at-home football parties. And another thing that I think parents may be wondering about, you know, sometimes they may drop their student off for, you know, purchasing a student ticket to sit in the student section. Is that something that's going to be happening this year?
So for our varsity football games, we created a student section for the home team. There's 150 seats, I believe, in the end zone where the band used to sit, and each of those seats is going to be socially distanced. That's going to be our student section. We're going to move our band down onto the track in the end zone, just in front of that area in the bleachers. Those seats are single seats, and if a student chooses to sit there, we're going to expect them to maintain social distancing and wear a mask. So to answer your question, if a high school student wants to come to a game, that's where they would sit with a student ticket. They would have to purchase that ticket online. There is no ticket that will be sold at the gate. And they will enter through the gate between Bogus Stadium and the annex. Right now it's labeled middle school entrance, but really what we're looking for that to be is high school student entrance. We're not really wanting any middle school and below students at the game unless accompanied by adults sitting in one of the reserved seats on the home side.
Well, it sounds like there are a lot of details, a lot of plans and things that have been worked out and things to be considered, right, to keep the safety of our students and our community, you know, at the forefront of all of these decisions. So can you tell us a little bit about, you know, who comes together to help make these decisions? I'm assuming it's a committee, or, you know, what does that look like?
Well, we're very fortunate in Harlingen CISD to have a bunch of great people, starting with our superintendent, Dr. Gavassos. You know, things that are of this magnitude, you know, he wants to be involved, and he has provided tremendous insight. We've got Mr. Strubhart in his department to be able to disseminate information out to the public. We've got Dr. Noyola, who has a background in athletics and has been able to be, you know, very helpful. We've called people across the state of Texas, many schools north of us and outside the valley have already been playing. And so we've asked them, what are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the things that you've learned? We've applied that. And then in our athletic department, we've got Luis Solorio and Sandra Flynn and myself, and then our athletic secretary, Vanessa Tovar. Most of what we've been trying to figure out is how do we get tickets to the right people for this season, starting with participants, parents, to the season ticket holders, the people who really, we want everyone to feel like we would prefer they come to the game if they would choose to, but those are the ones that this is a one chance deal, especially for a senior parent to be able to come and watch their child. And we want to make sure they have the opportunity. So our safety director, Danny Castillo, has been helpful. It's been a team effort. We're learning a lot. Our first home football game is going to be the Bird Bowl. So I don't know how we got that to be our first opportunity, but we're going to do it. We're going to do a great job with it.
Well, I'm sure that has been a pressing issue for our community. So thank you for clarifying so many of those pieces with the football team and those games at the stadium. But all of our athletes are certainly impacted through this entire COVID season. And I'm sure parents are just wondering, even through daily practices, not just at games, but, throughout the entire experience in athletics, just what are some of the things that are changing and how we're keeping our students safe?
The number one thing that I think I've learned from this is everyone has to take a personal responsibility to do the right thing. And that starts with the health check. When I wake up in the morning, whether I'm staff or I'm a student, how do I feel? And have I been exposed to anyone who is exhibiting any symptoms? And if the answer is yes, then I really don't need to be coming to school and I don't need to be coming to practice. I need to stay at home and I need to notify my coach and they'll take it from there. So that's number one. Then whenever they get to the actual campus for a student, first thing we do while they're in their cars, we take their temperature. And we have a range, and we have some things there to account for hot weather and different things to provide an additional temperature check if needed. But that's the next thing. Maybe you didn't know you had a fever. We test you. You do have a fever. We're going to send you home. You're not even going to get an opportunity to get out of the car. Next thing that athlete's going to do once they get out of the car is they're going to go to a hand sanitizing station. They're going to have their mask on. They're going to be socially distanced, and they're going to get to the field or court or whatever it is that they're getting ready to participate. And then from there, our coaches will begin to orchestrate a practice. And while we're practicing, the way that the guidelines read is if I'm actively engaged, that means I'm directly involved in participating in the sport or the game. I don't have to wear a mask. We're working on some things where we have some coverage, even though we are playing, because we want to keep our kids safe. We want to keep them playing. But the UIL says actively engaged. You don't have to be masked. If you're on the sideline, you need to be masked. You need to try and maintain social distancing. Obviously on the field, you can't maintain social distancing. You're trying to tackle people or defend people or whatever the case may be. Then after the game, you're not going to see the traditional handshakes and things like that. The teams are really trying to stay away from each other. We're limiting the number of students that travel on a bus and even allowing parents in some cases to bring their child to the event if they choose to do that. Washing equipment, sanitizing equipment during practice, before and after practice, lots and lots of cleaning. Our coaches, our staff members are always face covered. We've spent a lot of time and effort and energy really studying, COVID-19 and how you mitigate the spread of it. We've got a bunch of really smart people in our school district who I think have put together a fantastic plan. But at the end of the day, it boils down to personal responsibility. If you're sick and you come anyway, you're jeopardizing everyone. So we're talking to our kids, if you don't feel well, you need to stay at home. Not just our kids, our staff members, and just be very, very cognizant of that. Then, of course, you've got some people who are walking around asymptomatic, and how do we prevent that? That's where the social distancing and the face coverings and the hand sanitizing really comes into play.
At the end of the day, there are some families that, for personal reasons, whatever that choice may be, have decided to sit out of athletics this year, and they may have selected to opt out, and that is, of course, their right to do that. But maybe, they're not seniors. They plan to return next year. God willing, there's the ability to do so. What kind of consequences might that athlete face for sitting out this year, or what might they be looking at as they return and they would like to resume their sport? What does that look like for them next year?
Well, I absolutely respect anyone's decision. That everyone has to do what's in their best interest. And if I had a child and we had members in our family living in our home with underlying health conditions, which what we've learned about the disease, if that came into our home and infected someone with underlying conditions, that could be catastrophic. So there are all kinds of situations where people can decide, this isn't the year for my child to participate. As far as consequences, I wouldn't really even use the word consequences. It's communicate with your coach your reason on why you're opting out this year. There will be a schedule change where you would be into a different class, because if you're not participating, there's really no reason for you to be in the class. And then whenever we get to the spring, prior to enrollment for the following year, if hopefully things have cleared up, you communicate with that coach and say, hey, I'm good to go for the following year. I would like the opportunity to get back into the class and resume where I left off all the way back in spring of last year. So, I would be surprised if any student had any issue or had any problems with their coaches returning back to the program if they opted out this year because of COVID-19.
Well, I think that you have done a great job of answering so many community questions, things that our parents are, pressing issues. Our families want to know so many things. Athletics brings so much joy to so many homes. And of course, as we know, we're learning about COVID that, staying active is a healthy way to, keep our bodies in the best optimal condition. So I know that this is going to be great for our students as well. So I want to thank you for taking the time to join us, but I want to give you the final word. So if there are any other insights or final thoughts that you wanted to share with our families, I wanted to give you the opportunity to do so now.
I just appreciate the Harlingen community. I've been here a little over a year. My wife and I moved here, just the welcoming that we've had. And then just appreciate the way that our community supports athletics and our schools, the 3As, academics, arts, and athletics. It's a great place to live. It's unfortunate that we're going through this difficult time, but we have great leadership. We have great people in the right spots that's leading and guiding us through this. And eventually we're going to look back on this time. And I believe in many cases, we're going to be even better because of some of the things that we've had to learn and adapt. Like right now we're on Zoom. Zoom is going to revolutionize the way that we do things, even whenever we return to face, just the efficiency of being able to gather large groups of people and not have to travel. So, it's a difficult time. Some people are having to make some difficult decisions on whether or not to participate, whether or not am I going to go to school or not. And I don't know what the right answer. I just think everybody has to do what's best for them. As far as athletics, I'm excited that we're gonna resume and we're gonna give it our best shot. And if you want to come to the game, you're going to have to go and purchase your tickets online. It's going to feel a little bit different for you as a fan. We just appreciate your patience and understanding, and know that everything that we're doing is for the safety of our community and our students.
Well, thank you, Mr. Davies, for all of the work you're putting in to keep our students safe. And thank you, listeners, for joining us today. We encourage you to get connected by visiting our site at hcisd.org/learntext or by tweeting using the hashtag LearnTX. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you will join us next time where we will be discussing arts here in our district. And we would like to welcome you back for LearnText, where it's our mission that LearnText will continue to inspire continuous learning by fulfilling the desire and joy of acquiring new knowledge. Until next time.